Today, we'll be discussing the importance of honesty in packaging design and how it can make all the difference in catching the consumer's attention. Just to explain here, this isn't about admitting flaws in the product or hiding doing something wrong. I mean more about the honesty in the product experience, specifically the real human experience of what it's like to actually interact with the product. So today, we're looking at Ryvita crackers. Now, we all know the temptation of making everything look perfect. We've all seen those ads with perfectly shaped burgers, juicy and glistening, or those Instagram posts of immaculately arranged breakfast plates. It's all a little hard to believe, and consumers know inevitably the product will look nothing like that. The net result is that the consumers then end up being thoroughly disappointed. But often, a bit of honesty is often the best policy. Being honest and upfront with a consumer is the best way to manage their expectations. If you promise a consumer something that your product clearly isn't, they have a habit of remembering that. Being honest and being seen as truthful is the best way to create an emotional connection with them. Consumers will remember your brand for one of two reasons. Either you've done something incredibly well, or you've done something incredibly bad. Obviously, it makes sense to try and go with the former. One great example of this are the Ryvita packs. These packs are a beautiful example of how to achieve standout on the shelf and maximize taste appeal through championing the imperfect. Eating crackers can be a messy affair, and that's the beauty of these packs. They capture that mess and the randomness of the bites perfectly. There are lots of clever graphical tricks utilized on the pack to echo this. The brand logo on an angle creates a massive amount of movement on shelf. Breaking symmetry in a very symmetrical competitive set is a great way to catch the consumer's eye. And let's face it, when you're in the supermarket, our eyes are constantly scanning the shelves, looking for that one thing that will make us stop and take notice. But it's not just the logo that's imperfect. The ingredient shots also echo this brilliantly. Much of the product dressing isn't on the cracker, but fallen off the side. And I absolutely love this because it's a real-world example showing that making these and dressing the crackers can be really messy and experimental fun. It's a reminder that not everything has to be picture perfect to be delicious. It's a great visual shortcut to anticipation. When we see those imperfect ingredient shots, we can't help but want to make them as quickly as possible and shove them in our gob. It's the imperfection that makes them relatable and makes us feel like we could make them ourselves. And that's the key. Understanding the consumer and how they interact with the product builds empathy with the brand. If the consumer can see themselves making it and what state the kitchen will be in afterwards, you're halfway there with your communication. But this idea of honesty and imperfection doesn't just apply to Ryvita. It's a trend that we're seeing more and more. For example, look at wonky veg. Gone are all those perfectly symmetrical legumes and perfectly arced bananas. This isn't really anything new. It's how we always used to shop for veg. Well, before the supermarkets had a say in it, that is. Growing up, I can't ever seem to remember buying fruit and vegetables from supermarkets. It was always from that bustling little hive of local gossip and locally sourced veg, the greengrocers. Remember those? Nobody there cared about the shape of a potato or the fact that apples were different sizes. That was all part of the authenticity, part of buying something completely natural rather than something that's had to pass a beauty contest for genetic perfection. And it's not just in the world of groceries. Take the fashion brand Gucci, for example. Their recent campaign featured models holding their own hairdryers, standing in front of bathroom mirrors and even posing with their own pets. It's a far cry from the glitz and glamour we usually associate with high-flying fashion brands, but it's this honesty and authenticity that's resonating with consumers. And it's not just about visuals. Brands are also being honest with their messaging. In another recent article, this time in Forbes, it talks about how brands are moving away from the traditional aspirational messaging that we've seen for years, and instead they're embracing honesty and transparency, talking openly about their flaws and shortcomings. One great example of this is the beauty brand Glossier. They recently launched a campaign called Body Hero, which celebrates all types of bodies, not just the stereotypical perfect ones we usually see in advertising. Hopefully, more brands will follow Ryvita's lead and move away from the polished and perfect look and instead embrace the reality of imperfections in everyday life. Well, that's it. That's a wrap, as they say. I hope you found it informative. If it adds value, then please do subscribe. I'm Al, owner and creative director of Slice Design. You can follow me on my LinkedIn page, which is linkedin.com/in/Alan Gilbody, or you can follow us on our company website, which is slicedesign.co.uk. So until next time, have a fantastic week and keep well.